Okay, morning guys, it's Sean the EV Bloke here, going live, and we'll just see who comes in, if anybody, this time in the morning. I'll just see if I can rotate this around that way or not. Oh, I can do that way, can I? Rather get it up to there. Okay. Bit of a weird position. Anyway, welcome. Let's just put a message up there for you guys. Live chat. Can't I put a message on there? Must be able to. Alright. What's that one? Super chat, top chat. Okay. Well, I've got a. I have a video coming up on the channel today, so look out for that. I won't spoil it by showing you around in the car because I've decorated up the car a bit, and then I'm going to talk about all things BYD, as in I went to. Well, let me just go over the basics of it really. Last week I took the car for its. I took the car for a service, its first service, which is just, they call it an observational service. So I think they just basically look around at everything on there. That's what I think they sort of do. And so got there, filled the paperwork out, they took the car off and done that. They then found it needed a software update, which is kind of like strange really, because I just had a software update only a couple of weeks ago. But when I was talking to the technicians up there, they were saying that sometimes when you do a software update, some things obviously get missed off on the. Sometimes things that you had on there before get a bit disjointed or whatever, and you lose some of them functions, which is what I did. I've noticed this before, because like I lost my radio stations before when I done a software update, and I couldn't get it back until they done another software update. So yeah, basically what happened was they said to me, "Oh, we've got to do another software update." So what should have been like a hour and 10 minutes service turned out to be like 2.5 hours or something like that. It was okay, it wasn't a problem. Gave me time to chat to the guys up there about BYD and about this car and all the other cars coming in, which is why I wanted to do this live stream really, to just speak a little bit about the cars that's coming in next year. So BYD have 3 cars coming out next year, and with those 3 cars that's coming out next year, there's the first one will be the Seagull. So that's coming out in what do you call it? That's coming out, I think, in the first quarter. So that's a tiny. I don't know if you've seen that one. I mean, if you watch my video that I'm going to upload later, I show some pictures of it on there. But I have to keep my time. What I've noticed with uploading on here, I have to keep my times fairly even, because I have an awful lot of Australians and Singapore, people from Singapore and stuff. Singapore is my highest subscribership, believe it or not. I find it really amazing that I've got this car in the UK here. No one else seems to really be doing anything on this car here that I can see very much. And you know, and watched the other side of the world. It's fascinating, really is fascinating. So I tend to upload at a time that would be good for those as well as the UK, so I tried to balance it in between. That's why I haven't put it up yet. But I've got a video, anyway, digressing, I've got a video coming up about the about my whole experience there. But just to go over it briefly there, so the BYD Seagull will be coming out here in let me just see, I can't see the screen there to see if there's anybody there. Let me just have a look. So I have to probably put my glasses on, guys. I'm half blind nowadays. I've got the most horrendous. I don't need glasses for driving or just general sights, but I've got so bad on my long-sightedness, if you like, for reading and stuff like that, that I have to just carry things everywhere. Hello, Pavel from Russia, Moscow. Good to see you, man. Stop. What's that? Stop begging Basil. Basil, $200, please. Please lend me some money. Oh, right, okay. Then we got Javid. Are you in EastEnders? No. Are you in Grange Hill? No. Not in either of them either. Never been in any of them. I'm probably the right age to a bit of those, but no, not in those. But I have been on the TV before. But I'll keep that to myself. But yeah. So yeah, the BYD Seagull will be coming out. If you watch the video later, guys, you will see on there that I put some pictures in there of all these cars, and I'm going to try and see if I can get some prices for them as well. They weren't too sure when I went up to BYD last year, but I do know that the BYD Seagull is quite a small town car, so I think it's going to be of a reasonable price, that one, if anything, you know. So that'd be interesting. So that's coming out in the first quarter, so I reckon that will come out on in the UK anyway, on the April plates, you know, end of March, April. And then I think after that we have the BYD Seal Lion. All these names, I never quite understand their strategy on names. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because their namings is just so weird. Nothing seems to actually make sense, because you know, you've got, like, this is called the Atto 3. There's an Atto 2 coming out next year, which I want to talk about. And then you've got these kind of like nautical themes ones, you know, sea lion, seal, and all this kind of thing. Yeah, it's very strange on their namings, but anyway. Right, just going through these lists of everything there. I've not missed anything, have I, yet so far? Thanks, guys, for coming in anyway. So yeah, I'm just up here charging a local Dobbies, which is for those not in the UK, is a garden centre here, and they're closing. They are actually closing, so they're going to be no more here. They haven't been here terribly long, I don't think, this Dobbies, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I came in a couple of months ago. I came up here to charge, and I went in there to get a coffee, and I bought a couple of bits, and I said to the guy behind the desk, I said, oh, can I like have a carrier bag, please? And he said no. And I said, what do you mean no? So for a carrier bag? He said, we just haven't got any. He said, because haven't you heard we're closing down? I said, no. So they're closing down on the 15th of December. What's going to happen to these chargers here? I don't know. I would imagine they'll probably just keep them here, certainly for the time being anyway. It depends on what's going to be used on this land and this garden centre, because there's a massive car park here, or fairly large. So it'd be interesting to see what they actually do with regards to the car park and stuff. But I mean, you know, it's the UK life at the moment. We're seeing loads of companies closing down, and they just can't afford it. You know, we're such an expensive country now, in all facets, really. I mean, I'm not a political person, but we have a lot of my keys have dropped down there now. That's okay. We have a lot of you know, we've been just in a cost of living crisis, like a lot of people have for a long time, I think, really. And you know, some people really struggling, you know, and And so companies are as well, and they're getting taxed higher, stuff like that. And they just can't function, you know. So it's a shame. But garden centres, of course, are historically very expensive anyway. So we must factor that in, of course. Things you can get elsewhere for cheaper, they charge at a premium, so that doesn't help, I guess. So there, I like the stream. Thank you. I don't want to butcher names here, but I'll just do the best I can. Sanreo Gacha Stories, is that? Big up, nice to see you. Yeah, so this will be closing down. I don't know I've not heard anything about what's coming in here, but I hope these chargers stay here, because this is my local charger. This is like my home charger, because as most of you guys know that follow me regularly, I don't have a home charger, which is kind of interesting in a way, because that's one of the reasons I took this car, is because I wanted to experiment what it's going to be like not having a what's the word, a home charger, and how that's going to work out. So what I have to do is I do a combination of finding slow chargers where I can leave it for a couple of hours while I'm shopping, stuff like that, which gives me enough generally for that day for mileage and stuff like that. I've probably got a bit of buffer there anyway. And then the rest of the time I do quite a lot of fast charging as well when I'm out and about doing road trips and driving around and everything else and going on longer trips, which everyone would do anyway, I guess. So, but I was interested to see how in the 3 years, because I leased this car, in the 3 years I've got the car, what I'd be interested to see is what actually happens with regards to with regards to kind of what the infrastructure is going to look like at the end of it in terms of charging for people that don't have a home charger. Because what I keep going on about is that there's 43% of people in the UK that will not have access to a home charger. But by 2030, the government want every car being sold by then to be essentially electric. So no new gas cars. No, there'll be hybrids, of course, still till 2035, I think it is. But you know, you won't be able to get a diesel or petrol car new if they carry on with that line to 2030. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. It might change. They might backtrack on it a bit. We're already starting to see that that certain auto makers are struggling with regards to meeting the targets of electric cars at the moment. It's almost like the transition's a little bit too quick for the market, is what I'm just trying to say there, really. So we'll see what happens on that. But anyway, there still needs to be a big ramp up in terms of how the government and how the world of charging is going to work. So in the new year, this is going to be one of the big focuses I'm going to have. So if you are in a similar situation to me, you don't have a home charger, or you it's putting you off getting an electric car because you don't have a home charger, you know, then it'd be interesting to hear what feedback I can get from you guys with regard to you know, just some opinions on what you have about it all, because I'm going to start getting in. I've already been touching base with a few people, so hopefully that deal with home charging solutions. So we're going to get them on the channel. We're going to start doing some live streaming. Well, not live streaming. We can start doing some what's the word? Podcasts. Some podcasts on some of these things, because I think it's something that really needs to be looked at, because it's all very well putting in a fast charging infrastructure everywhere, but you've still got to think about the people that don't have home charging, you know. So that's a big one for me, and I just don't know exactly what's going to happen with regards to that in terms of how they're going to quickly get around these issues and everything. Because as I say, in my area in particular, and let me know if you're in the UK in particular, or even if you're in Europe, what's going on with your area. Do you have access to home charging in your area? All that kind of thing. You know, is the charging cheap around your way than it is? Because we've got really expensive fast charging here. And in actual fact, when you do find the slower chargers, there's not actually a lot of difference, by the way, in terms of how much you're paying, which is kind of mad, really, because you're thinking to yourself, well, how's that right? Because you know, some of the fast charging I would look at as convenience, really. So if you're pulling in half an hour charge up and you're paying a bit more, you can live with that a little bit more than if you're just plugging in and you go shopping for 3 hours and come back and you've got 25-30% in your car or something like that, you know. So yeah, in my sub. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing any of these comments on here, guys. I hope I've not missed any of you. But there we are, 11 of you in. Yeah, give the streamer a like up. I appreciate that, because that does help to push these videos out a bit more, kind of thing, and all that sort of thing. But so yeah, so I'm down here now. So yeah, so let's go back to the cars then. So as I say, the BYD Seagull then will come out in April, end of March, beginning of April in the UK. It might be different if you're in another European country, it may well be different. Some might be January, I don't know. But that's what's, I'm going to turn my heated seat off. It's too hot in here now. Turn that down as well. I don't know about you guys, but even when I'm charging, which I'm doing right now, I always leave my heating on. I don't sit here in cold. I've seen people turn everything off, lights off, turn the motor off, and they're just kind of like sitting there in darkness. I'm thinking to myself, why are you doing that? Because you got to remember what the energy that's being used by those facilities is so minuscule compared to the charging speed. It's not affecting your charging speed at all. I mean, unless you're doing some kind of testing or something, then that's something different. You need to get the right figures and all this kind of thing. But for comfort and warmth and all that kind of stuff, there's actually no reason why you can't you know, link up to it that way. So yeah, it's interesting, because at this moment in time, as I said, let me just get that a minute, just get a call coming in there, quite important one. How do I do that? I can't do that. Anyway, they'll call back. So yeah, what I find is, what was I saying? So yeah, it doesn't affect the fast charging one bit. So anyway, going back again to the cars. So we got after April, in probably around about May time, we have the BYD Sea Lion coming out, which is a full-size SUV. So it's bigger than this. It's got double charging pads that's cooled. I've seen some specs of it. It looks really nice. Talking to the guys up at BYD, they reckon that could be the big one for BYD here. Let me just get this phone. I'll be back in a sec. So are you still there, guys? So yeah, so basically so that's coming out in around about May time. Now the great thing about that is that that's going to be, like I say, a full-size SUV. Probably ain't going to be cheap with tariffs and everything else, but that looks like the real sweet spot in terms of what people want these days. People want the large SUV type cars, don't they? So it'd be interesting to see what actually happens with that. But yeah, so that's coming out in May, and then I think towards more the third quarter of the year, you're going to be, we've got the BYD Atto 2, which is the car I'm very interested in. It's slightly smaller than this one. When I put the video up later that I've done about this, when I put it up on the channel, you'll be able to see the pictures of these cars if you don't know what they look like. But it's kind of like almost a Kia 3, if you've seen the Kia cars. It's like the Kia 3. Let's just straighten that up a bit. I'm on the bend there. Kia 3. And so that looks like quite a nice car, actually. And so I don't know anything about the specs of that. But when I put the video up, I'm hopefully going to be able to give you more specs to those cars when they come out next year. But that's what I found out when I went up to BYD. Those three are definitely coming out next year, which will then complement the Dolphin, the Seal, and this one, the Atto 3, and the, is that all of them? Well, there's the Seal U, which is the hybrid one. That's out there. I had a look in that when I was up there. That's a nice looking car as well. So, but I did mention to them around with all the charging speed and that, can we have possibly faster charging on our cars? I know you can do it by software updates. He clearly wasn't able to answer that one, which is fair enough, you know. He couldn't answer that question. I know by software updates they can change all these things really. So Tesla do it, other brands do it, so there's no reason why not. So yeah, it'd just be interesting to see kind of what happens with regards to that really. So there's 3 new models coming out next year, so it'll be a big year for BYD here in the UK, whether they're going to actually really launch it. I don't see hardly any Atto. I don't know about you guys, if you've got an Atto 3, do you see many Atto 3s in your area? I don't see many Atto 3s in mine. And how this company is really doing, it's very hard to tell at the moment because they're still very new, of course. A year in the automotive industry is nothing really, which is of course just over a year is roughly how long they've been here. But of course they brought out the 3 cars. So they seem to be bringing out 3 models a year, which is quite amazing really, when you think about it. Having a coffee. Sorry guys, I rabbit on. I can rabbit and talk about cars all day long, so if you just feel I'm rabbiting. In actual fact, while some of you are here now, let me ask you what you feel about anything you want me to do with this car. Is there anything I haven't done with this car? If you've watched my videos before, I know not everyone that watches you on YouTube people that have been there before. Sometimes they're obviously new people coming on and that kind of thing. But if you've been familiar with my videos, is there anything I haven't done that you'd like to see me do? I don't know, range testing or something, or seeing what we can get out of the battery. When I came here, I was on 8%, and I was beginning to feel like there was a bit of lower power in the car, and I wasn't getting so much heating coming out from it as well. And I thought, wow, that's 8%, so it still was coming up with like I was starting to see a lot of I was starting to see a lot of changes in that way. So I don't know, but if there's anything you guys want me to do, range testing, running the car down to 0, because I just say it begins to feel a little bit of lesser power, so it might be interesting to see how far down we can get, even if I get down to like 2% or something, and then just go around a car park so I don't have to be towed somewhere, just to see what we kind of get out of it really, because I don't know what kind of a buffer this car's got on it. It's say at 8%, you'd expect to be not on full power, of course, but it just felt a bit strange, the car, you know, when it was getting down to that low percentage. Not that I've never been in at 8% before, I don't think, you know, but I tend to not let it go below 10 most of the time. And if I'm fast charging and I'm doing something straight away, I always fast charge it to 100% generally. Charge it to 100%, and then, you know, you've got that there. Hi Sheila, I only seen a few Atto 3s in my area. Definitely. And then what else we got there? Missed that message. Alina, hi Alina. Hi Javid. Hi Pavel. Yeah, great to see you guys in. So as I say, it is one of those that I think about and I think, well, you know, it could be something quite interesting to do actually. But you guys let me know if you that watch the channel, you know, like I've always said, I'm here to obviously do videos and that with the car, but if you guys have ideas, things you want to see with this car, I did think about once doing like a camp out night and try out the vehicle to load and all that stuff, and maybe buy a nice bedding at the back, because I found out with all the seats flat I could fit in the back, and I thought, is that really practical? But without the climate isn't sort of set up where you can have climate on all the time really. you've got to have the vehicle on, really, which is just mad. That's another thing, really. That's another thing they can do on software updates, is give you like an auxiliary mode where you can leave the heating on, or the cool air on all the time. You need those sort of facilities. So if you've got a dog in the car, or a baby, or you're camping, as it were. If you're camping in the summer, you need to be cool. If you're camping in the winter, albeit for you in this country, but if you're camping in the winter, you need heat, so either way. So that's something which is quite basic, which I feel they could probably do, and they haven't up till now. But yeah, so, but what would be interesting to see next year really is, I'm interested in some of the other cars coming out, of course, as well. We got the Renault 5 coming out, which I'm really excited about. I love the Renault 5, the looking of it on the videos, and that's going to be oh, we've just got a question coming there. Let's just read that out, guys. This keeps on fading away. I've got a couple of accessories for the BYD Atto 3: a kilometer assist for highway driver, assist for HUD, for HUD, for the head-up display, that can project Google Maps so I don't take my eyes off the road. Oh, that's good. That's a great idea. Where did you get that, Anoop? If you don't mind me asking, is that just something you can just get from BYD, or you got it online, or is it available in the UK? I don't know. I take it you're not from the UK. I don't know. Which is that, but that's good. And of course, that's another question. You see, everything is buried in these screens, and it would be nice to have a lot more things through head-ups, have more head-ups. I'm actually surprised that we don't see a lot more cars with head-up displays, because they're so good. And a lot of the cars now, I think the BYD Seal definitely has a head-up display. I noticed that when I test drove that, which has got quite a nice one actually, really. But the more you can keep your attention on the road instead of looking down to these screens. Because last week I took out the XC30, the Volvo, and literally, I'm not exaggerating, you probably saw if you watched the video, although I didn't go into an in-depth view of it. I hope to get that car back. But everything was buried in the screen. Everything was just buried in the screen. And so really, and that's coming from Volvo, when you consider what Volvo are like. So everything was buried in the screen, so you just couldn't hardly do anything. There's one or two functions, if I remember rightly, down, but essentially everything was through the screen. And the funny thing is, it had one of those attention monitors in the front. So it's kind of weird, this, because everything's in the screen, but as soon as you take your eyes off the screen, so even if you keep your head straight and just look, it seems to pick up that movement of your eyes. It starts beeping at you to say keep your attention on. But I think, well, I've got to look over there because everything's in the screen, including your speed, everything. It's all in there. It's just like it's on a Tesla, really. There's another company that don't have head-up displays. So that's interesting about the head-up display you mentioned there, because like I say, it's an aftermarket thing. But yeah, drop something in the comments there of where maybe other people can get one, if you don't mind. Is that Anoop? Is that right? Is that your name? Yeah, put it in the comments down below if you've got a link or something too, so that other subscribers can maybe look into that. I mean, what I tend to do is when I get in the car, and my wife is the same, we get everything, she gets everything set up to how she wants it before she drives, and I tend to do the same. So get the heating fairly right, get everything set up so you don't have to keep on going down and fiddle-faffling around down there. Because when I first had the car, I used to drive off and start going down the road, and I think, oh gosh, I need to do this and do this, and I was going into the screens all the time. So it's yeah, it's a payoff, really. It's nice to have the screens, but at the same time we are losing a lot of buttons now in cars. And I think at least for climate, really, because climate's changing all the time. So when you get into a car in the morning and it's cold, you get in, you have it on hot obviously, fairly hot, and then you're off doing your drive, and then when you get to as you're starting to drive along, it starts warming up. You've then got to go back to the to it again to turn everything down again because you're getting hot, So it's something you need to be using quite a lot, is what I mean. So if you just got some physical buttons down in the center console somewhere that you can just alternate those things, and I don't mean the button here which just puts it on full blast, but some kind of regulation thing where you can just turn that down without having to go into the screens and everything. Because even now, although it's had a couple of updates, you still need to keep going in and out of the screens on here. So that's a bit of a thing. But yeah, so let me know anything you want to know about the car, or anything you want me to do in the car. If you've got any suggestions of videos you'd like to see relating to this car, please let me know. But as I say, next year, once Christmas is out the way, this channel will be moving on quite a lot in terms of you're going to start seeing a lot of new things coming to the channel. As I say, including if we can get automakers on, and I want to get dealerships on actually, because I want to know what they're going through with regards to all the changes that's happening in the UK with regard to how much they've got to sell, the pressures they're under, that kind of thing. I'm interested in all that side of it as well. So that'd be nice. I have been looking for a solution for the air cons for a while. I get really hot. Yeah. It's the same with what it does, Anoop. It when it's cold, it takes heating out of the cabin and puts it into the battery. That's what I seem to find. I did speak to them last week about this, but they couldn't answer it. And then in the summer, vice versa. So what happens is in the summer, when the battery pack gets hot, it shucks the heat into the cabin. It's really weird. And if you're traveling at low speed, like you would on a very old car that doesn't have aircon or something, it obviously starts heating up. If you're sitting in slow traffic, the car starts heating up all the time. Well, in this car, it does the same thing. So if you're in slow traffic in really warm weather, it just starts getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So you need to actually almost be keeping on going at reasonable speeds to be able to keep the cabin cool. Well, that's something which I think really needs addressing, because I've heard this mentioned by a lot of people, and the guys in Australia there, which live in a very hot part of the world, it must be unbearable for them, if they're having to go through that all the time. I mean, UK, we have a fairly obviously cool climate here, really, so we don't have to endure that for very long, and we're lucky if we get 2 weeks a year of really hot weather. But in hot countries, and I mean, if you're from a hot country yourself, you'll know this for a fact, that it's actually really difficult to manage that. So, but Beyond Nyland, who you probably have obviously watched, famous YouTuber now, I watched his videos on this, and he was experiencing the same thing there, and it was getting all the fogging that goes on in this car when it's so it seems to scavenge heat but also repel heat or whatever according to the battery pack. Now it's got a heat pump on it, so that should be able to keep the temperature up in the winter. But yeah, so how it deals with all of that, whether there's not enough vents on here, I don't know. Perhaps that's something, a bit of a miss on this car, I don't know. But I don't know if it's the same with all BYD products. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has got like a BYD Seal or any of the other cars that have come out over here, but whether they do it differently. But certainly in the Atto 3, it's a bit of an issue. What is basically a £40,000 car here in the UK, roughly. That's not really good enough, to be overheating in the car. But that is essentially, but again, it's probably something they can do with software updates. I don't know. Does it have to really be like that? I don't know, but it just makes you wonder, doesn't it, really? So anyway, where are you guys from? So I know we've got Pavel is from Russia, and Javid. Yeah, just let me know where you guys are from. It's always interesting to know. I mean, obviously on YouTube you can go and have a little look at where roughly people come, what area they're living in or whatever, what area they come from and stuff like that, and or where you're getting your viewers from. And so my biggest viewers are the UK actually, but then closely followed by Singapore and Australia, and then I think it's America, and then some other eastern countries. So it's quite interesting, really, who's interested in this car. I don't think this is a massively interesting car in the UK. The UK have I just don't see many of these on the road, etc. Maybe the BYD Seal attracts more, I don't know, with its performance and looks and everything. But then this is the kind of car that British people buy, this mid-size SUVs. So yeah, I don't know, you'd think it would do really, really well, but I'm not too sure what the love for this car is. I mean, the interior, I mean, I've got loads of videos on the channel, go and have a look at them if you want, but the interior is quite bold, I'd say. There's quite a lot going on in here, and that doesn't suit everybody. Some people like the more minimalist look. Like I said last week, I was in the EX30, and that's really minimalistic. I mean, that is just minimalistic as it goes. There's some beautiful materials in there. In actual fact, that's a lovely car, you know, the X30. If you're after a small posh car, as it were, because I think it's a posh car, little posh car, in that ice blue, I think it's called, which is like a very pale blue with a very light blue interior, that's the spec to go for. What a beautiful looking car that is in the EX30. But yeah, if you like your Volvos, check out the EX30. It's incredibly powerful. They do a performance version that you just don't even need. I wouldn't even go for the performance version, because you've got more than enough in just the rear wheel long weight. I took out the rear wheel drive long range. That has more than enough power in that car. It really does. More than enough power for anything, you know. So it's just a lovely look. It's a lovely little car. It's not the biggest. I mean, it's not a, I wouldn't say it's a family car size car or anything like that. But for a couple who've got a young child or something, or just a couple, or even if you've got a couple of younger kids at the back, they'd be fine. But you're not going to pack in 5 adults in it. Probably even 4 6-footers would struggle really on a long trip anyway. But it's just a nice sweet spot in the market as well. It's a high class vehicle that is at a okay we talk about okay price. It's still like 33,000 I think, but by Volvo standards that's of course fairly cheap. They're a high-end company, of course. So yeah, but it is what it is really. But yeah, this is, I mean, I'm going to be doing my year review in a couple of weeks before the end of the year, and I mean, it's never let me down, touch wood. It's never, the screen's never packed up on me. Or my neighbour, he's got a MG and his screen keeps on cutting out, and it's the same age as my car, and he's constantly having problems with it, you know. And it might just be the bad luck with his car. I'm not saying MG are rubbish or anything, but this car's never faulted in any way. I've never had stuff coming up on the screen like you know, any issues with the car or anything like that. It's just been working perfectly. And like I've said before, although I wouldn't classify this as a road tripping car, definitely not, it still has its place in the market, in that, you know, for doing 90% of the things you do, going to work and back, going shopping, going back, going off in a sort of hour radius there and back, around where you live kind of thing, it's fine. When you start doing road trips, I mean, I plugged this in at 8% and I've still got 27 minutes to go, and I've been 46 minutes on the charger. You can't road trip a car that's got 46. You've been on the charger for 46 minutes and you've still got 26 minutes to go according to the screen in front. So, which makes that way over an hour's charge. That's just not good enough, you know. That really isn't, you know. Whether I'm doing that to 100% or not, it doesn't matter. This should not be. So even if I knock off the 80%, well, I'm just on 80% now, so that's 8% to 80%, so 8% to 80%, so I'm on 80% now. So what that means is then, in that charge up time, it's taken me 47 minutes, which is still not good, is it? You know, you don't want to be more than half an hour if you're going on a road trip. So as I said before, yeah, in summer you're going to get a bit faster than that. You're going to cut that down to probably a full charge in 47 minutes. But you know, half our year is we're not in summer. You know what I mean? So it just kind of depends really. But yeah, but I'm 81%. I'm still getting 58 kilowatts, which is not bad. That'll probably jump down in a short while, as I expect. But that's not too bad, I guess. But yeah, so it's the charging speed really with this car. It's always been that. The Renault 5 that's coming out in January, that does 100 kilowatts. The specs I've seen of it. So that little car is faster charging than this one. So that tells you a lot. So they do need to up their game on charging speed, BYD, definitely. If they want to, I think even the BYD Seal is only 150. Well, when you think Tesla's 250, you know, a lot of the Hyundai products are much faster than that. You know, it's not even about being class leading. You're not even being class competitive when it's like that. So yeah, they need to look at that charging speed side of things, definitely. Oh, Anoop, I brought the Atto 3 for the interior. Yeah, I mean, even me, because I like a bold interior. The kind of nice, clean, it's not what do you call it? Exaggerant exterior on this car or anything like that. It's fairly plain looking, isn't it? But when you get inside, it's anything but plain. I went for the materials. When I test drove this, I was really impressed with the materials. And now I've had this nearly a year, and nothing moves or rattles in this car. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing moves, nothing rattles. It's all solidly built. I can go to anywhere and give it a good tug around, and nothing creaks or, you know. So they're well built cars. I mean, that much you have to give BYD credit for. But this kind of interior wouldn't be for everyone. I know that. Some people do like a much more minimalist interior. The thing is, a few years ago, all interiors were black, and you know, but yeah, I mean, now we're getting these lighter materials in, gives more light in the cabin. It just gives a different appearance, a different feel to the car. But this bit along the side here on this vehicle, the cushioning on here, I really like that bit as well, you know. Yeah, it's a tricky one. You're from India, are you? No, because once I drive the car with windows down, the cooling gets better. It's trapping the hot. And I guess in India, you know, being a really hot country, you must really feel that. I do feel for you. Yeah, it's dispensating heat. I mean, that's the thing I noticed in the summer as well here. I mean, obviously our summers are very different to yours, but we don't really have a summer, do you? It's just a kind of wet and dry season. But here, it's a problem if you're in traffic. If you're stuck in traffic, this cabin is going to heat up, you know, and it gets really warm as well. And you're just thinking, gosh, I know, hurry! I just want to get through this traffic so I can get out onto the, you know, main road and carry on. But yeah, it is an issue. It is an issue. So Anoop, in India, what BYD cars do you have there? Do you just have the Atto 3, or do you have the BYD Seal? Do you have any of the other sort of BYDs out there, or you just got that particular model? And do you know if you're getting the other vehicles that I mentioned earlier, the BYD Seagull, which is like a small, tiny town car, really, which will have its place, I reckon, here. Or the BYD Sea Lion is coming out next year here. Are you getting that? Are you getting the Atto 2 as well? The Atto 2, which is the smaller sibling to this one. Now, if maybe you're getting that one as well, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're getting those out there. It'd be interesting to know. But yeah, so coming up to Christmas now, I've got a long road trip to do to pick up my son. We'll do a video on that, and we might even take an opportunity to use that to do a test on the actual, because I'll probably go out of my, now it being winter, I'm bound to actually do an outside of my range figures for it. So that could be that could be something that happens there as well. So that'd be interesting. So we might be able to go right, see how low we can get, and then, you know, then go up. Okay, it's got 4 cars: the Atto, the Seal, the E6, and the M7. Dolphin yet to be released. Okay, the M7, is that that is the C line, isn't it? I think, don't they call that the 7? That's one I'm interested in certainly reviewing. All these cars I'm going to be reviewing next year as well, by the way, and I'm hoping to get I've got all my paperwork set up now with regards to getting onto the media teams, the media drives for the cars. So hopefully what's going to happen from that is I'm going to get invited to a lot more of the events now that I'm monetized. I'm going to start getting start getting a lot more offers, hopefully, to actually go to the launches. That's what I'm trying to say. Go to the launches of the cars. So that'd be interesting. So you're going to see a lot more different car content next year. That's definitely true. Will definitely happen. And yeah, I just look forward to it. I love electric cars, and so many don't, I know, but I do. And I just love talking about them and taking them out. I think that's the 7-seater E-Max, I think. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, the UK market is very volatile at the moment. The depreciation on vehicles is really high, and we're pushing for electric here big time, and a lot of automakers are suffering with that. But we get a lovely selection of cars here in the UK. Cannot fault the UK in that regard. We get just, you know, a lovely selection of cars, really. So, but next year will be interesting. But so I'll definitely be trying to get hold of the Seagull for a week or two and take it through. What I want to do is get the cars and then put them through their paces, see what we can get out of them, and see if the issues we've got with the Atto 3 are continuing in those cars, because I'm hoping to see, as new vehicles come out, that they improve things, of course, and we don't see some of the issues that we've got with like cars now. I'm hoping that we don't see those same issues with the future cars, because they should be getting on things like heat coming into the cabin that doesn't need to be coming in, or shouldn't be coming in. That's something they need to be on top of. So yeah, so it'd be interesting to see that. And then of course with the BYD C line, I'm really looking forward to spending some time with that car. We can do some long trips with that one and see what kind of range it does, because it's I think it's got an over 300-mile radius on the range, so that'd be interesting to see how that works. But yeah, all round it's looking good, you know, in that respect. So I'm quite happy, so for next year to be doing all of those. And then this girl, we'll be doing some stuff with her as well. Like I said, I might do a camping thing, you know. Let's see if we can camp in one of these. I think I've seen one video, but that was in Australia, of a chap, young guy actually, who'd done a sort of camping trip in this, and it seemed to work for him. But he had a separate tent and everything. I know you can get tents that just go on the back, but that could be interesting. I've got the Forest of Dean near me, which is a beautiful area, so we could always take a drive down there and just do a camping session, you know, and see how this goes as a camper. But as I say, we need to get that heating, we need to get the aircon sorted to be able to do that. But hopefully these things will come. The great thing about software updates is the car you buy is not the car you sell, you know. It's going to be a better car than the one you picked up. There should always be improvements, which is the point of the over-the-air software updates. Things change on the car, you know. Tesla are a great example of this, where when they started out, what they were offering, and then when you see what they are now. Oh, next year I should hopefully be getting hold of the Tesla Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive, which is the one with the super amount of, it's very efficient and it's got long mileage on it. So I want to get one of those and see just how many miles it will get on UK roads. That'd be interesting to see, because that looks like, if you're in the market to buy a car, that looks like one to go for. Maybe even to lease, I don't know, but it looks like a car to go for, that one. just for the sheer fact that it's got so much range on it, you know. So that would be an interesting car, that will. But so I'll head on down to Tesla and maybe get one of those. It's kind of my thing. Not so keen on the build quality of them, but other than that, it's pretty much there. Well, we're here now, guys. I'm coming up to 15 minutes on the clock. I'm at 91%. I just got to nip in and go to the toilet. So I'll probably end the stream now, but it's nice. Thanks for you that have come along and joined me this morning. Thanks, Anoop, and all the rest of you guys. And so I shall catch you on the next one. Look out for my video that's I'm uploading today, which is all about the dealerships and all about the car. It's some surprises in the car, which I won't tell you about, but you probably gathered. And so look out for that later. And then, as I say, I've got a road trip coming up, and end of year review car. Well, going and giving in depth what I think about this car, having had it for a year. So that'll be coming to the channel. And as I say, next year we're going to be talking to a lot more professional people in various aspects of electric mobility, and we're going to start broadening the channel that way a little bit, plus also more other cars as well. So, and the new ones that's coming out with BYD, I've already been told I can have those cars, so that'd be interesting. So I can get them for a good few weeks, kind of thing, you know, hopefully, so we can really test them out and see what they're like. So lots going on the channel. Thanks. Please subscribe if you're not. Please share it with your friends. And yeah, on the road now to 1,000 subscribers. So if I can get to the 1,000, you get quite a few things at 500. But yeah, if you can support the channel, support it. In this climate with the cost of living, I don't expect that from anyone, but if you can support me, I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, it's fine. And so I'll catch you on the next one, really. So thanks for joining me, and yeah, you have a great day, guys, or night, or morning, or evening, whatever time it is where you are.